An out-of-this-world end to the work week at the New York Stock Exchange. The crew of SpaceX Inspiration rings the closing bell as the four civilians making history in space soak in the stunning views and celebrate milestones hundreds of miles above Earth. Mixed messages tonight from the Biden administration on boosters. Despite the president pushing for boosters for American adults, the major news from the FDA tonight: an advisory committee votes no on recommending boosters for Americans over 16. But the committee unanimous in recommending boosters for people over 65. So what comes next? Dr. Jha is standing by to answer your questions. The Pentagon tonight acknowledging a major error in the late August drone strike in Kabul. The civilians, officials say tonight, were accidentally killed, and the new backlash. Tonight, the startling new images coming in from the border. Nearly 10,000 migrants huddled under a bridge near Texas, with more on the way. Many of them Haitians escaping a country reeling after the assassination of their president and a major earthquake. The Biden administration's response tonight to the fast-developing crisis. The high alert in the nation's capital tonight. Authorities bracing for a rally tomorrow in support of hundreds of people charged in the January 6th riot. National Guard members expected to be on standby, and Capitol Police insisting tonight they will not be caught off guard again. As the R. Kelly trial goes on, his assistant breaking her silence to our own Michael Strahan.
Did he ever ask you to recruit women for him?
He's never asked me, but at the time, I'm only saying that he was R. Kelly, a mega superstar. He needed no help. I mean, absolutely no help to recruit women or to get women.
And El Paso Strong tonight. 2 years after that terrible attack on Hispanics there, the Texas community marches forward, refusing to let hate win.
What did the shooter not know about El Paso?
That we're strong, that we're family, that we've been here since a long, long, long time. Y no los rajamos.
You don't quit.
We don't quit.
You don't run.
No. We face what we have to face.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff in for Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us tonight. We begin this Friday night with major news on booster shots. In a rebuke of the Biden administration's posture, an FDA panel votes no for booster shots for all American adults. The decision in large part because of the members of the panel's discomfort with the vast age range and the gaps in safety efficacy data for younger age groups. The same FDA panel did vote, though, unanimously after that to allow booster shots for Americans 65 and older and individuals at high risk of severe COVID-19. This comes after President Biden announced just a month ago plans to offer booster shots for all American adults starting the week of September 20th. After that announcement, the World Health Organization blasted the decision, urging developed countries to let the whole world get the vaccine before starting booster shots. So, what comes next, and what is the Biden administration saying tonight? Our Whit Johnson leads us off.
Tonight, an FDA advisory panel voting unanimously to authorize Pfizer booster shots for Americans 65 and older 6 months after your second shot. They also voted to authorize boosters for Americans who are at high risk of severe COVID at any age, such as people with diabetes or high blood pressure.
We do have a unanimous 18 out of 18 who voted yes. Dr. Cohn, yes. Dr. Portnoy, yes. Dr. Lee, yes.
The panel didn't officially vote on it, but also unanimously supported including healthcare workers on the front lines, teachers, and essential infrastructure workers in the first wave of boosters. The FDA could potentially include more groups incrementally as more data comes in. The move comes after Pfizer pointed to data from Israel showing that booster shots given to people 60 and older cut the risk of infection by 11 times and severe infection by nearly 20 times. Just hours earlier, the same panel had been asked a much larger question. Should boosters be available for everyone, 16 and older? The panel overwhelmingly rejected that for now, indicating more evidence is needed.
Dr. Perlman voted no. Dr. Gans voted no. This vote did not pass, since the majority voted no.
Despite studies indicating vaccine protection wanes over time, today panel members voicing concern over the lack of data showing the impact of boosters on young people.
There are too many questions for me to feel comfortable
saying yes.
I think that we need safety data for younger populations, and we need to really know what the benefit is. I think so far we've got some reasonable data for older people, but I really think that there are too many questions on the younger populations.
Today's decision comes after the president's plan unveiled in August to roll out booster shots for all vaccinated adults starting September 20th.
Get a booster shot. It will make you safer and for longer. And it will help us end the pandemic faster.
Facing criticism for getting ahead of the science, the White House defending itself, saying this was always pending FDA and CDC approval, and they continue to say they're ready when given the green light. So boosters will likely now begin in stages, starting with 65 and older and those at high risk.
If you want to roll out booster shots to the population, you can't flip a switch and make that happen overnight. There's important planning that has to take place.
Whit Johnson joins us now. And Whit, if you can, just break down the next steps for us. How soon could people who are eligible start getting their booster shots?
Phil, a CDC advisory panel will meet next Wednesday to consider more specific guidance on how these booster shots should be rolled out. If authorized, we could start to see some of those first booster shots going into arms by the end of next week at about 80,000 locations across the country, including pharmacies. Phil?
All right, Whit Johnson, thank you. And to help us sort all of this out, I'm joined now by Dr. Ashish Jha, Dean of the Brown University School of Public Health. Doctors, thanks so much for taking the time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
First, I want to know if you were surprised by the FDA panel's decision not to recommend boosters for everyone over 16, or was there just not enough data yet?
I was not surprised. I think the data has been pretty clear on this, that for high-risk individuals, boosters make a lot of sense. For young, healthy people, we're just not there yet. We don't have enough compelling evidence to suggest that they need it, and we should wait until we have more clear evidence that that would be a helpful thing to do.
The Biden administration has, as you know, faced some criticism for getting ahead of the scientists on this issue, although they do point out that they were planning for boosters was pending on FDA and CDC approval. But from a public health perspective, any concern that this vote against boosters for most Americans will create confusion in the vaccine effort, since there's so much disinformation and confusion to begin with?
Yeah, I am worried the messaging here has not been as good as it needs to be. The number one message that every American needs to hear is that the vaccines are working. And especially if you're young and healthy, you absolutely need to be getting vaccinated. You need to get that first shot and second shot. The real question has been around third shots for high-risk people. And I appreciated the FDA's advisory committee saying that would be a useful thing. But the key for everybody else, for the rest of us, is get your first and second shot. That's what's going to prevent you from getting into the hospital and prevent you from dying.
Pfizer relied on, in large part, on data from how this is all playing out in Israel on the need for boosters, at least. But some panel members said that's a bit of an apples and oranges comparison. Why is the U.S. situation different from what's being seen in Israel, at least in the need for boosters?
Yeah, so Israel is just one of the countries. There are boosters now being used in the UK and Germany, so we can look to other countries as well. Israel's a small country, of course, and they did a very good job of getting a lot of people vaccinated very quickly. So I think some panel members thought, well, we should really be looking at data from other places, including the United States. But fundamentally, I do think the data from Israel is an important part of the consideration, and I'm glad that it ultimately was used as a part of the decision for getting high-risk people that booster shot.
So as you point out, the panel did vote unanimously in support of boosters for those over 65 and those at risk of serious disease. Do you anticipate the CDC will follow that lead? And if so, here's the question: how soon would boosters likely be available for those groups?
Yeah, so I do think CDC is going to follow that lead. And I think what you're going to get from the CDC, hopefully in the next few days, 3-4 days, is a bit more refining. So what do we mean by people at risk for serious disease? They're going to probably set those criteria much more explicitly. And my take is probably by the end of next week, we should start seeing more and more people get boosters. This should not be something that people have to wait for very long.
We heard that several panel members do note that vaccines remain effective against serious disease and death. Based on what you've seen in the data, do you think that protection against serious disease will continue to last, or could that eventually wane as well?
Yeah, so we're going to have to follow the data, of course, on this, and we don't know. But so far, 6-7 months out, again, young, healthy people, looks like they are very, very high levels of protection. My expectation is that it will continue for some period of time, but we're going to want to monitor that very closely. And if we start seeing waning, then we're going to obviously want to expand the boosters to a much broader population.
Finally, we have seen some alarming statistics with the U.S. daily death average rising 600% since the middle of the summer alone. But the CDC is predicting hospitalizations will actually drop this month. Does that mean that the Delta variant may have peaked, or could we still see a surge as we head into the fall and winter months?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I do think that the Deep South, which saw the huge surges over the summer, I do think that that has peaked at a high level, so a lot of people getting infected, getting sick, dying. But I'm hoping that those numbers will come down. I worry about the northern half of the country, the Midwest, Great Plains, even here in New England, with fall approaching. I think we have to be concerned, and we just have to get more people vaccinated.
Doctor, final question. You're helping us unpack this, sort through all of this. We've gotten new data. We've got the decision now from the panel. If someone is at home watching us right now, thinking to themselves, I'm confused, there's so much information, who would you tell people to listen to right now, or where should they be getting their information?
Yeah, it's a very good question. You know, there's a lot of information out there. For me, the reliable sources remain the CDC. The expert I personally trust the most is Dr. Tony Fauci, who I think is our nation's premier expert on this. It can be confusing, but you've got to really listen to people who've been working on these issues for decades and understand them better than everybody else.
Solid advice. Dr. Jha, thanks so much for taking the time tonight.
Thank you.
We turn now to that major admission by the Pentagon late today that a deadly drone strike in the final days of the U.S. withdrawal from Kabul was actually a tragic mistake. General Frank McKenzie revealing 10 civilians, including 7 children, were killed in that blast. Military officials believed at the time they were stopping an imminent terror threat. Here's ABC's chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, the U.S. military admitting to a horrific mistake that left 7 innocent children and 3 innocent adults, including an aid worker for an American company, dead.
I offer my profound condolences to the family and friends of those who were killed. Our investigation now concludes that the strike was a tragic mistake.
The deadly attack came just 3 days after a suicide bomber killed 13 American service members and some 170 Afghans at the Kabul airport. The Pentagon said intelligence indicated another attack was imminent. So for 8 hours, U.S. drones then followed a car they thought had linked up with ISIS-K. Officials say when the driver loaded the vehicle with what they thought were explosives, a Hellfire missile was launched. Even days later, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs supporting the strike.
We had very good intelligence that ISIS-K was preparing a specific type vehicle at a specific type location, and it was a righteous strike.
But it was this New York Times investigation that first called the strike into question. The driver of the car was identified as Zamri Ahmadi, an aid worker who they determined from this surveillance video was loading water canisters into the car with his colleagues, not explosives. Today, the Secretary of Defense also acknowledging the mistake, saying, "We now know that there was no connection between Mr. Ahmadi and ISIS-Khorasan, that his activities on that day were completely harmless and not at all related to the imminent threat we believed we faced."
Martha Raddatz joins us now from Washington. And Martha, we heard from General Milley there in your story. He's also making news today, breaking his silence about his calls to the Chinese, trying to convince them that the U.S. would not carry out any military action in the final days of the Trump presidency. How's he responding?
Well, he has been criticized very soundly for this, but the general said today those calls to his Chinese counterparts were perfectly within the duties and responsibilities of his job, saying the calls are routine or done to reassure both allies and adversaries. In this case, he said, in order to ensure strategic stability. Phil.
Martha, while we have you, some news today on another diplomatic front as well. France recalling its ambassadors from the U.S. and Australia. Just quickly explain to us what's happening with that.
This is all about nuclear-powered submarines, and the UK and the US are sharing. They've said they will now share the technology with Australia. France is mad about that because they had a contract with Australia to build a different kind of submarine, but not nuclear-powered, and Australia's going with that one, Phil.
Martha Raddatz, thank you. Now tonight, to the new crisis playing out right along the U.S.-Mexico border. Tonight, the small town of Del Rio, Texas, has declared a state of emergency. The startling images coming in of roughly 12,000 migrants gathering under a bridge near Del Rio. The town's mayor says Del Rio needs help managing the thousands of migrants. Our Marcus Moore reports.
Tonight, city leaders declaring a state of emergency in the small Texas town of Del Rio. Nearly 13,000 men, women, and children have converged on the border town to seek asylum, and they're being held in squalid conditions in this temporary staging area under the Del Rio International Bridge.
What you see behind me are individuals that have not even been processed or detained.
The shade under the bridge offering little escape from stifling triple-digit heat, food and clean water becoming scarce.
This is as bad as I've ever seen it.
Governor Greg Abbott ordering state police and National Guard to assist overwhelmed border agents. Sources say the majority of the migrants are from Haiti, the nation still reeling from the assassination of its president and last month's earthquake. More than 208,000 apprehensions were reported at the southern border in August, a 317% increase over the same month last year. Today, DHS Secretary Alexander Mayorkas saying that they are working to address the influx, stating they will employ the use of Title 42, a Trump-era health policy which permitted the expulsion of migrants without allowing them to seek asylum.
We have authorities by reason of that special circumstance, and we will exercise those authorities.
Marcus Moore joins us now from Texas. Marcus, as bad as this situation is, officials anticipate it could get worse in the coming days?
Yeah, Phil. They say that more people could be on the way. They anticipate that an additional 8,000 men and women could be on their way in the coming days, coming right here to this spot and trying to seek asylum. And Phil, we have seen a flurry of activity here in Del Rio, people bringing in equipment along with cases of water. As you know, food and water has been scarce as all of this has unfolded, and it seems to be getting worse by the hour. Phil.
And the basic needs for so many. Marcus, thank you. And next tonight, authorities are on high alert in Washington, D.C. this weekend as Capitol Police increase security ahead of tomorrow's planned rally in support of hundreds of people already charged in the January 6th riot. But police insist there will be no repeat of that day. ABC's congressional correspondent Rachel Scott has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Tonight, the Capitol Police Chief warns they picked up chatter about possible violence tomorrow, and they're taking no chances. We saw blocks of new fencing, new surveillance cameras, beefed up security.
We have a strong plan in place to ensure that it remains peaceful and that if violence does occur, that we can stop it as quickly as possible.
Today, lawmakers were urged to stay away, the House telling its staff to work from home. The Department of Homeland Security warning that people either involved in or opposing tomorrow's protests may seek to engage in violence.
What specific types of threats of violence are you seeing?
What we're concerned about, I think, more than anything, is the possibility of counter demonstrators and making it to this demonstration and there being violence between those two groups.
More than 600 Trump supporters have been charged in the deadly riot, where more than 140 officers were wounded. Former President Donald Trump insists they are, quote, being persecuted so unfairly. But he's also calling tomorrow's rally a setup, adding, if people don't show up, they'll say, oh, it's a lack of spirit. And if people do show up, they'll be harassed.
Rachel Scott joins us now. Rachel, beyond the beefed up security we saw there, what other steps are being taken ahead of tomorrow?
Well, Phil, I can tell you just by walking over here, I saw new surveillance cameras that have now been installed. We're also learning that 100 National Guardsmen will be on standby, only called in if necessary. We're told tonight that those troops will be called in only as a last resort. And then obviously the fencing, not only around the U.S. Capitol complex, but also around the entire Supreme Court. I was out here on January 6th. I can tell you I saw nothing like this leading up to that day, Phil.
Yeah, all of D.C. on alert tonight. Rachel, thank you. Next tonight, the executives from major oil companies, including Shell, BP, and ExxonMobil, have been called to testify before Congress. Lawmakers investigating the role the oil industry has played in spreading disinformation about global warming after secret recordings of 2 Exxon lobbyists were made public. ABC's senior national correspondent Terry Moran reports.
President Joe Biden holding his second global climate change summit with world leaders today, virtually, and delivering a blunt message.
So we have to act. All of us, we have to act now.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats in Congress are set to launch a major investigation into an alleged corporate climate scandal. The accusation that some of the biggest oil and gas companies in the world, quote, reportedly led a coordinated effort to spread disinformation to mislead the public and prevent crucial action to address climate change. The hearing coming after the release of secret recordings made this summer by Greenpeace UK. Activists posing as job recruiters, recording ExxonMobil exec Keith McCoy explaining that the company actively worked to undermine climate change legislation.
Did we join some of these shadow groups to work against some of the early efforts? Yes, that's true.
Democrats in Congress say the recordings prove that Exxon sought to undermine the science of climate change and downplay the effects.
Terry Moran joins us now from Washington. Terry, I think it's fair to say there'll be some fireworks in this hearing, to say the least, as a room filled with oil executives face off against Democrats who not only support the Green New Deal, but major climate action.
They do, and they see this hearing as perhaps one of the spark plugs that could get that movement going to get some major legislation on it. They're hoping to replay in a way that iconic moment years ago when the CEOs of the tobacco companies came before Congress. They all took the oath and they said they had done nothing to try to cover up the dangers of smoking. This is obviously a different industry and a different subject, but they want to get that same confrontation, as you say, between executives and the Congress over what is now clearly a major issue before the country. We'll see about that. Exxon, by the way, says that man, Keith McCoy, had nothing to do with developing climate change policy in the company. But there's no question that all these executives are going to face questions on that and on their track record on this issue. Phil?
That'll be interesting. Terry, thank you. When we come back, the women facing charges for allegedly attacking a hostess who questioned the validity of the vaccination cards in one city. Also, our journey to the most bilingual region of the Western Hemisphere. It's been through so much, particularly the survivors of that horrific shooting that targeted Latinos, yet so many there remain El Paso strong. But up next, the ABC News exclusive, the longtime assistant for R. Kelly speaking out as his trial continues, what she saw and what she had to say about it. Stay with us.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
Right now, with so much at stake, thank you for making ABC's This Week with George the #1 Sunday morning news show versus the competition.
Welcome to This Week.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live. This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're going to move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
3 Texas women are facing charges for allegedly attacking a hostess in New York City at a restaurant. Police, who were reviewing this video as part of their investigation, say the altercation began when they asked to be seated inside but were questioned about the validity of their vaccination cards. That, by the way, is a requirement for dining in New York City. The hostess was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Now to that ABC News exclusive as the trial against R. Kelly continues tonight. We are hearing from his longtime assistant, Diana Copeland. In her interview with Michael Strahan, she revealed some new details about what she says she saw inside his homes, about his live-in girlfriends and his female visitors.
It's the bombshell trial making headlines. R&B superstar R. Kelly in federal court. At various points over the span of nearly 2 decades, allegations from sex trafficking to child pornography have swirled around R. Kelly, but he has not been found guilty of any crimes. The singer, now back in court and claiming his innocence again, pleading not guilty to multiple federal charges, including racketeering and sexual abuse.
There were women always, coming at him.
Diana Copeland served as R. Kelly's executive assistant off and on for 16 years, taking the stand, sharing details from her experience working in his homes.
I believe I can fly.
At the time, Kelly was one of the biggest selling male artists and music producers. His hit song, I Believe I Can Fly, winning him 3 Grammys. How would you describe him as a person?
He's charismatic. And I think that's one of the reasons why people kind of say he has 2 personalities, because when you meet him, he has, he's a really personable person. If you see him angry, that's a whole different person.
Inside Kelly's homes where she worked, Copeland said there were rules, like guests were not allowed to roam the homes. Where did they all stay?
Yeah, he would have live-in girlfriends. They had their own rooms. Guests would just come maybe sit in the studio with him. He had like 3 properties. And those properties, there was like a certain decorum that was expected. He pretty much didn't want not just the girls to move around, but he didn't want anybody to be able to just roam his house, like a museum.
Copeland says she was asked to accompany his guests on outings. She says during shopping trips, the women often didn't interact with male salespeople.
They asked me during the trial, did you notice their reaction with males? And I did. They didn't want to speak to the males. In fact, sometimes they would ask me to interact with the males.
So they didn't want to speak to the males, or were they told not to speak to the males?
Well, that piece I can't speak to because I don't know if they were told, but I would say that you can pretty much surmise that that was probably the case.
She says while outside a fitness center waiting for Kelly to work out, she was in a van with multiple women, and one of his girlfriends needed to use the restroom, but she says refused to go because she did not have permission from Kelly. Was she afraid of him? Was she afraid that if she removed or went to the bathroom that she would be in trouble?
That's, a question, I guess, for her. But what I can say is this. There are certain rules that are put in place for safety, because when he gets out of the vehicle, he's highly recognizable. So now whomever gets out of that vehicle, there's a spotlight, a target on that person.
No speaking to men, the texting to use the bathroom, none of that raised an alarm for you. You didn't think any of that was a little strange?
I know Robert, the family man, the businessman, but his personal life is Robert's personal life. So my job stops at the threshold of his bedroom door.
Copeland says multiple live-in girlfriends and other women would visit his homes, and one of her jobs was making their travel arrangements. In court, Kelly has been accused by some women of traveling them across state lines when they were underage. Another alleged victim telling the jury she was even held captive for several days. Diana maintains she didn't see anything like that. When you're making travel arrangements, of course, you need the date of birth. So how old were these women?
They ranged in ages, no one under 18. In fact, when this case came up, I'm reading that women are locked up and kidnapped and these things of that nature. And that's not what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing anybody that's trying to leave or any locked doors. Every woman that's left has walked right out the door.
Did he ever ask you to recruit women for him?
He's never asked me, but at the time, I'm only saying that he was R. Kelly. A mega superstar. He needed no help. I mean, absolutely no help to recruit women or to get women.
Is there anything that you think you could have, would have done differently?
Looking back, I think that I would have done things the same way I did. I don't think that anything that I did was wrong or and I also don't think that anything that I could have done would have changed what Robert did. I can only control Diana.
Michael, thank you. For more now on this stunning case, we bring in ABC News consultant Brian Buckmeyer with the Law and Crime Network. Brian, thanks so much for taking the time tonight.
My pleasure.
So we just heard in Michael's piece Diana Copeland talk about R. Kelly's girlfriends, how they seem to follow a pretty strict set of rules. Cameras aren't allowed in the courtroom, but you and your colleagues have been inside hearing all of the testimony. Take a minute and walk us through the claims that R. Kelly controlled his alleged victims. And do you think Copeland helps or hurts that part of the prosecution's case?
So R. Kelly's accused of almost grooming the women that he's with, or as he calls them, girlfriends. They're not allowed to speak with other men. Some allegations even they can't even look them in the face, wearing baggy clothes and being kept in rooms where they have to knock to exit or not being allowed to leave without permission from either R. Kelly or someone from the staff. And they're talking about the control that he exerted over these women in a way that seems very peculiar, as the defense may call it, because they're saying this is a unique situation with an R&B singer, a king of R&B, as he was called at one point in time. But the prosecution is saying that this is the act of someone who is trying to control women for the purpose of sexual assault. Now, you listen to Ms. Copeland's testimony, the defense is going to say just that. It's awkward because we're not R. Kelly and we don't treat women this way because we're not famous people. But the prosecution is saying this is sexual assault, so really it's going to come down to the interpretation and who can best tie the facts to their interpretation of those facts.
Brian, you just mentioned control. A psychiatrist testified about how one person can have control over another. And we see that in all aspects of life. But when does it become illegal?
So Dr. Dawn Hughes took the stand today and Friday, actually, and during direct examination, she kind of laid out the difference between just the typical control that may not come about in a non-criminal setting, but also when it gets to be more criminal, how the different ways an accuser can control a victim through grooming, interpersonal violence, instilling fear, separating individuals from their family or support system, and talked about the fact that when someone's under the age of 25, their brain is still developing, and so they're more susceptible to this form of control. Now, when you take that control plus exerting sexual assault on that individual, especially when they're under the age of 18, that's when it becomes criminal. And going back to what Ms. Copeland said, tying the psychiatrist's testimony with Ms. Copeland's testimony, that is what I think the prosecution is going to win at the end of the day, to show this isn't just bizarre because he's famous. This is bizarre because he's sexually abusing these women.
Copeland also told Michael Strahan that she did not witness R. Kelly with any underage girls, but she did acknowledge that her experience doesn't negate anyone else's. He's charged at the heart of this case with sex with minors. Tell us how strong that evidence and testimony has been so far.
I think that's a done deal for the prosecution. They've won it already. I think it's very obvious that these women are going to be found credible and that the allegations of him having sex with underage women is going to win the day. I think the only thing the defense can really do is argue that there was no enterprise for the purpose of that sex. They might try to attack this case from a very technical standpoint from RICO charges, but other than that, I think any argument that R. Kelly had sex with underage girls is a losing one for the defense.
There have been so many strange and shocking allegations. You have taken us through this trial so far. For you, what has been the most alarming thing you've heard there in the courtroom?
It was when Lewis, the first John Doe, testified about being brought into this detached garage that had a boxing ring in it. And he talked about R. Kelly snapping his fingers twice and a nude woman coming from underneath that boxing ring and giving sexual acts both to Lewis, that's not his real name, but that's what he testified under, and R. Kelly, after R. Kelly made sexual advances onto Lewis. Just a whole array of facts as to how that played out blew my mind as I sat there in the court.
Yeah, not even sure how to really respond to that. So many people hear the details of this case, and I think that's why people can't look away from it. Just quickly, you don't have a crystal ball. Let's step back. You seem pretty sure that he's going to be convicted on some of those charges. We haven't heard all the defense arguments yet, so we have to put a caveat there. But does it look like R. Kelly's going to get convicted? And if so, how many and what crimes do you think?
So a lot of the sexual charges are underlying charges to the main ones, being the RICO charges, the racketeering, and the Mann Act charges. The Mann Act is moving an individual across state lines for the purpose of sexual activity, or it's a very old statute. It's called debauchery as well. I don't think the defense is too concerned about those charges because they're very low charges in terms of sentencing. And so I think he will be convicted of that. I do think the defense has a very technical argument to say that this was not an enterprise, and they may, if they walk that tightrope, to say R. Kelly did commit these crimes, but in his personal life, not as an enterprise, they may, and I stress, they may beat some or a few of the RICO charges, but the evidence is so damning as to the sexual acts and some of the very, for lack of a better term, disgusting acts that the jury is going to hear, that I think that technical argument may fall on deaf ears.
Really difficult testimony to have to listen to, but we do appreciate you doing it and taking us through it. Brian Buckmeyer, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Still ahead here on Prime, the 9 big cats that tested positive for COVID in the National Zoo. Question is, do they pose a risk to visitors? The consumer alert you need to hear about holiday shopping, and why the world's largest tree is being covered in a protective aluminum wrap. We take a look by the numbers. But first, our post of the day, Dr. Jill Biden surprising a class that then serenaded her with their COVID song on keeping clean.
Keep them clean. Don't have the COVID machine. Break it down. What a beautiful plan.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
How cute.
Yeah.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 12 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
what is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
Assault on the Capitol, the ABC News original, exclusively on Hulu. Now streaming. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
Right now, with so much at stake, thank you for making ABC's This Week with George the #1 Sunday morning news show versus the competition.
Welcome to This Week.
Welcome back, everyone. The wildfires tearing through California's Sierra Nevada are now threatening Sequoia National Park, which is home to some of the largest trees on the planet. Now firefighters are wrapping fire-resistant blankets around the ancient sequoias to help save them. Let's take a look by the numbers. 2 fires are burning in Sequoia National Park, the Paradise Fire and the Colony Fire, which could reach the giant forest within days. That's according to the AP. The giant forest is a grove of about 2,000 sequoia trees, 103 feet. That is the circumference of the General Sherman tree, one type of sequoia. It's the largest tree in the world, and now you see its base covered in fire-resistant aluminum. 275 feet, that's its towering height, and it's about 2,500 years old, literally ancient. Last year, the Castle Fire killed upwards of 10,600 majestic sequoia trees. That's according to the National Park Service. Nearly 3,550 square miles have been torched by wildfires so far this summer alone, and hundreds of homes have been destroyed. We still have a lot to get to here on Prime. A potential legal victory for Kyle Rittenhouse, the young man accused of gunning down peaceful protesters in Wisconsin last year. And one of the Republican lawmakers who voted to impeach former President Trump is not running for re-election. What he said about the man he voted against. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com. World News Now.
And America This Morning.
The best new video.
The breaking news overnight.
Emergency crews called to the town of Surfside.
U.S. airstrikes hitting targets in Iraq and Syria.
The stories people are talking about.
You don't want to shave your legs? Don't. I was going to say.
Oh my. Got it.
And what to expect in the day ahead.
ABC World News Now and America This Morning.
Starting at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Up all night to keep you up to date.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
Right now, with so much at stake, thank you for making ABC's This Week with George the #1 Sunday morning news show versus the competition.
Welcome to This Week.
This is GMA3, what you need to know. GMA3.
A third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon.
It's all about you. Lunchtime on ABC.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're going to move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
Squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
It's a contentious debate amongst the nation's top health officials, a topic so divided the FDA's vaccine chief urging scientists to hear each other out as Friday's critical meeting on booster shots kicked off.
And we strongly encourage all the different viewpoints to be voiced and discussed regarding the data, which is complex and evolving.
Ultimately, the committee voting against a third dose of the Pfizer vaccine for Americans 16 and up.
This vote did not pass.
They did, however, recommend boosters for people 65 and older and those at high risk of severe disease.
The National Zoo is monitoring 9 big cats that have tested presumptive positive for coronavirus. Zookeepers last weekend noticing signs of the virus in the 6 African lions, a Sumatran tiger, and 2 Amur tigers. All are being treated for symptoms. Officials say the animals are kept too far away to pose a danger of transmission to zoo visitors.
Pentagon officials are now saying a deadly drone strike in Afghanistan mistakenly killed civilians, not Islamic terrorists.
I am now convinced that as many as 10 civilians, including up to 7 children, were tragically killed in that strike. Moreover, we now assess that it is unlikely that the vehicle and those who died were associated with ISIS-K or were a direct threat to U.S. forces. The strike on 29 August must be considered in the context of the situation on the ground in Kabul at Hamid Karzai International Airport, following the ISIS-K attack that resulted in the deaths of 13 soldiers, sailors, and Marines, and more than 100 civilians at Abbey Gate on 26 August, and also with a substantial body of intelligence indicating the imminence of another attack.
Well, McKenzie says at the time, military officials felt reasonably certain that the vehicle was an imminent threat to U.S. forces in Kabul.
In a Wisconsin courtroom today, 18-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse accused of fatally shooting 2 people in Kenosha during protests last summer. Prosecutor Thomas Binger wants a judge to permit certain evidence at a trial, including photos of Rittenhouse allegedly posing with members of the Proud Boys.
As well as a video taken 15 days before the shooting of Rittenhouse outside of a drugstore, looking at people he thought were shoplifting and commenting that he wished he had his rifle so he could shoot them.
I believe the evidence is not relevant, and I don't think it would assist the jury in any way in this case in making that determination, and I would ask that you deny the motion.
Republican Congressman Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio, facing a primary challenger after voting to impeach then-President Trump, says he will not run for re-election next year, citing what he called the toxic dynamics within our own party.
The 2020 census leaves Ohio with 1 fewer seat in the House of Representatives for the 2022 election. Former President Trump has already endorsed his former White House staffer, Max Miller. Gonzalez is one of 10 House representatives not running for re-election.
Kevin McAllister may have been left behind for the holidays, but you don't have to be, as long as you're ready to start decking the halls this fall. Experts warning consumers of possible toy shortages and delays from COVID-related supply chain issues. And now, a record-breaking cargo surge in California, according to the Southern California Marine Exchange. Popular stores across the country doing everything they can to make sure the shelves stay stocked. Target says it chartered a container ship as one of its options for making sure merchandise arrives on time. Writing in a blog post, we'll continue to partner with our vendors to tackle supply chain challenges together this season and beyond to ensure we can deliver for our guests.
Santa is going to fly. He has never failed.
And while retailers are gearing up for the rush, experts recommend shoppers do the same, even if it means stuffing that stocking in September.
23 lives were lost in the 2019 attack in El Paso that left a community and a nation stunned, angered, and in many cases broken. Despite the will to persevere, that Texas community still bears a trauma. But as ABC's John Quinones shows us, Latinx in El Paso are reclaiming a love for their cultura in a show of resilience and unity.
Mount Cristo is taking on a role of a spiritual beacon.
You can see the cross.
I can see the cross. We're going to get up there pretty soon.
The first time I climbed that, you felt that spirit inside of you.
There it is, Cristo Rey.
It's right in the center of the United States and Mexico.
It's all the same landscape.
So those borders are only in our minds.
El Paso. It means the passage, the step. It's a city where every day the feet of the faithful make their pilgrimage to the top of Cristo Rey.
Como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden.
The monument towers over the heart of Paso del Norte, the regions centering around El Paso, Las Cruces, New Mexico, and Ciudad Juárez in Old Mexico.
I think the special thing about it is you're right on the U.S.-Mexico border, but it's kind of a reminder that it's sacred space. This is a place for everybody.
Tell me where El Paso ends and Juárez begins. You cannot tell the difference.
It's an artificial border.
We've been one region, as I say, for 360 plus years.
I am Mexican-American, a former migrant farm worker. My family has lived in Texas for hundreds of years, and I've come here to find out how this city's rich history affects the challenges of Hispanic America today.
Where are we right here?
This is the Puente Santa Fe. This is a very busy area. You have students, you have shoppers.
Alfredo Corchado is a veteran border journalist, and he was just 6 years old when his family walked across that bridge from Mexico. In 2019, more than 30 million people legally took that same path from Juárez into El Paso.
So the ebb and flow of the commerce has been going on for hundreds of years.
For hundreds of years. That's why it's called Paso del Norte. It's a trading corridor.
And who's buying?
Mostly Mexicans.
El Paso is home to the largest bilingual and bicultural workforce in the Western Hemisphere.
English and Spanish to us is one language. We think in Spanish and we think in English. It's like a switch that can go on quickly.
We are part Texan, part Mexican, and sometimes reluctantly part New Mexican.
What makes this such a mix of cultures is that for centuries, people could easily cross back and forth. But then came the fences and the walls.
¿Y ella cruza sin problema?
Sí, ella es americana y mexicana.
Many El Paso natives like Adria Gonzalez and her family have been in the area for generations.
We didn't cross the border.
The border crossed you.
The border crossed us.
Your family came here in the late 1500s.
Yes, they did.
So you're more American than most Americans.
That is correct.
Thanks to a powerful border wall in El Paso, Texas, it's one of America's safest cities now.
I think the wall makes people who live away from the border feel safer. And maybe for some people, you know, the border's like a piñata, and for some politicians, that candy equals votes.
Easy targets, immigrants.
Yes, and for generations.
We're 20 years after the 9/11 attacks, and the only terrorist attack we've had here actually came from North Texas.
It's been more than 2 years, but most of El Paso is still reeling from that shooting at this Walmart. The shooter, then 21 years old, is accused of driving 11 hours from his home in North Texas and then killing 23 people and wounding another 23. It was the deadliest direct attack on the Hispanic community in modern U.S. history.
This was an evil white supremacist who came from 700 miles away. I do not believe this individual would have ever come from our region.
He was possessed by the devil himself.
Alberto Hernandez leaned heavily on faith to get through the loss of his older sister, Maribel. With a receipt in hand, she was killed along with her husband as they tried to flee that Walmart.
People are very religious in the city. We understand God has a purpose. There was a purpose for that day. I don't know what it might have been, but there's a purpose for everything in life.
Adria was with her mother when the shooting began. She saved countless lives by literally dragging people through the back exits.
I had a cap on me, and I took my cap off,
And I started yelling, vámonos, vámonos por acá. Let's go this way.
You saved a lot of lives. They call you Wonder Woman.
I'm not a hero. I just needed to do what I needed to do because this is our community. That's how we take care of ourselves.
For more than 2 years, Adria had refused to visit the scene of the massacre until today.
Why did you want to come here?
To be strong for my future kids, to know that they have a strong mom. I know it's going to take time, but right now I just need to let it go. Yeah. We can do this.
Paso por paso, step by step, she bravely makes her way into the story.
My mother and I were over there.
Adria personifies El Paso Strong.
I did it. I did it.
It became a rallying cry for the community, a mantra for spiritual healing.
El Paso Strong?
El Paso Strong.
Much like the climb to Cristo Rey, where special crosses now stand for all the lives that were lost.
The family members of the victims, they made a pilgrimage to come up and carry their loved ones' cross to the top.
The top of El Paso del Norte, the northern passage where the United States and Mexico become one. That is what brings El Paso a measure of love, forgiveness, and strength.
What did the shooter not know about El Paso?
That we're strong, that we're family, that we've been here a long, long, long time. Y no los rajamos.
You don't quit.
We don't quit.
You don't run.
No. We face what we have to face.
John Quinones, and be sure to watch our remarkable new hour celebrating the beauty and richness of the Hispanic community. It is called Corazón de America, airing tonight at 8 on ABC. You can also stream it on Hulu or watch it right here on ABC News Live this weekend. Before we go tonight, the image of the day. Take a look at this. It is a page from the first printing of the United States Constitution. It was displayed at the Sotheby's auction house. It's one of only 11 copies known to exist and the only one in private hands. If you want it, you can expect to bid in the range of $15 to $20 million. It's expensive to get into your hands. That's our show for this hour. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Phil Lipoff. Thanks for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, we are staying on top of a few things, including the new tropical threat in the Atlantic. And this is such a divided nation right now, but two members of Congress, a Republican and a Democrat, are setting out to show that civility and bipartisanship are not a lost cause. Stay with us.
It's an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcast.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline. Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it? Feel smarter,
feel better.
feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart that he did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
I'm Phil Lipoff. Thanks for streaming with us. We are monitoring several developments here at ABC News at this hour. If you are planning to go to the beach along the northeast coast this weekend, pay attention. Tropical storm Odette has now formed about 200 miles south of Cape May, New Jersey, and is bringing with it dangerous rip currents, though it's not expected to be a threat to land. We are seeing what life is like more than 300 miles above the earth. These images coming from the crew on board Inspiration 4. They are expected to return to our home planet tomorrow night. And then there's this poignant scene. Flags along the National Mall. The art installation pays tribute to the more than 600,000 lives lost so far here at home because of the pandemic. Thanks again for streaming with us. Today, the FDA finally weighed in and decided on whether or not Americans 16 and older need to get a booster shot. ABC's Whit Johnson has more on why they said no for most vaccinated Americans.
Tonight, an FDA advisory panel voting unanimously to authorize Pfizer booster shots for Americans 65 and older 6 months after your second shot. They also voted to authorize boosters for Americans who are at high risk of severe COVID at any age, such as people with diabetes or high blood pressure.
We do have a unanimous 18 out of 18 who voted yes. Dr. Cohn, yes. Dr. Portnoy, yes. Dr. Lee, yes.
The panel didn't officially vote on it, but also unanimously supported including healthcare workers on the front lines, teachers, and essential infrastructure workers in the first wave of boosters. The FDA could potentially include more groups incrementally as more data comes in. The move comes after Pfizer pointed to data from Israel showing that booster shots given to people 60 and older cut the risk of infection by 11 times and severe infection by nearly 20 times. Just hours earlier, the same panel had been asked a much larger question. Should boosters be available for everyone, 16 and older? The panel overwhelmingly rejected that for now, indicating more evidence is needed.
Dr. Perlman voted no. Dr. Gans voted no. This vote did not pass, since the majority voted no.
Despite studies indicating vaccine protection wanes over time, today panel members voicing concern over the lack of data showing the impact of boosters on young people.
There are too many questions for me to feel comfortable saying yes.
I think that we need safety data for younger populations, and we need to really know what the benefit is. I think so far we've got some reasonable data for older people, but I really think that there are too many questions on the younger populations.
Today's decision comes after the president's plan unveiled in August to roll out booster shots for all vaccinated adults starting September 20th.
Get a booster shot. It will make you safer and for longer. And it will help us end the pandemic faster.
Facing criticism for getting ahead of the science, the White House defending itself, saying this was always pending FDA and CDC approval, and they continue to say they're ready when given the green light. So boosters will likely now begin in stages, starting with 65 and older and those at high risk.
If you want to roll out booster shots to the population, you can't flip a switch and make that happen overnight. There's important planning that has to take place.
Whit Johnson for us. Whit, thank you. Now to that major admission by the Pentagon late today, that deadly drone strike we showed you in the final days of the U.S. withdrawal from Kabul was actually a tragic mistake. General Frank McKenzie revealing 10 civilians, including 7 children, were killed in that blast. Military officials believed at the time they were stopping an imminent terror threat. Here's ABC's chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, the U.S. military admitting to a horrific mistake that left 7 innocent children and 3 innocent adults, including an aid worker for an American company, dead.
I offer my profound condolences to the family and friends of those who were killed. Our investigation now concludes that the strike was a tragic mistake.
The deadly attack came just 3 days after a suicide bomber killed 13 American service members and some 170 Afghans at the Kabul airport. The Pentagon said intelligence indicated another attack was imminent. So for 8 hours, U.S. drones then followed a car they thought had linked up with ISIS-K. Officials say when the driver loaded the vehicle with what they thought were explosives, a Hellfire missile was launched. Even days later, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs supporting the strike.
We had very good intelligence that ISIS-K was preparing a specific type vehicle at a specific type location, and it was a righteous strike.
But it was this New York Times investigation that first called the strike into question. The driver of the car was identified as Zamri Ahmadi, an aid worker who they determined from this surveillance video was loading water canisters into the car with his colleagues, not explosives. Today, the Secretary of Defense also acknowledging the mistake, saying, "We now know that there was no connection between Mr. Ahmadi and ISIS-Khorasan, that his activities on that day were completely harmless and not at all related to the imminent threat we believed we faced."
Martha Raddatz reporting. Federal, state, and local authorities say they are ready for whatever happens ahead of Saturday's planned rally in Washington, being held in support of the hundreds of people charged in the January 6th riot. All this as former President Trump sends conflicting messages to the demonstrators. ABC's Ike Ajachi in Washington with more.
For the last 8 months, the leadership of the U.S. Capitol Police Department has been preparing, working to ensure that we don't have a repeat of January 6th.
Capitol Police telling the public they're ready for Saturday's planned rally in support for the jailed insurrectionists.
We have contingency plans for any possible disruptions.
For Saturday, the department says an increased police presence will be in and around the city. A number of road closures will be put in place, plus the return of the security fence around the Capitol grounds. ABC's Rachel Scott showed us.
That is a new surveillance camera that has been installed. The fencing now not just up around the entire Capitol complex, but also around the entire Supreme Court.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin approving a request by Capitol Police to have 100 National Guardsmen on standby, who will only be called in as a last resort. A Department of Homeland Security official telling ABC News earlier this week that more than 700 people are expected to attend. Jared Holt, an expert in domestic extremism, saying on MSNBC that the online chatter ahead of the rally pales in comparison to what was seen the days leading up to January 6th.
A lot of the same extremist groups that participated in January 6th have been very clear with their members that they should not go to this.
Republican lawmakers not attending the weekend rally. However, former President Trump sending this message: our hearts and minds are with the people being persecuted so unfairly relating to the January 6th protests. Trump trying to rewrite history on a day that saw police officers beaten and attacked and the Capitol stormed by an angry mob.
Ike Ajachi, thank you. We're going to turn now to the search for Gabby Petito. The FBI has now joined the effort as her desperate parents plead for any information from her boyfriend. He's been silent, but for the first time, we are hearing from his sister. ABC's Trevor Ault with the latest.
Brian Laundrie is still not talking in the disappearance of his girlfriend, Gabby Petito, but a member of his family is finally speaking out.
Me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She's like a sister, and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
Laundrie's sister Cassie says even she hasn't spoken to her brother since he returned to his home in Florida from his and Gabby's cross-country trip without Gabby.
I haven't been able to talk to him. I wish I could talk to him. I've cooperated every way that I can. I wish I had information or I would give more. This is all I have is I gave to the police.
These body camera images show the couple just days before Gabby went missing. Officers responding to a 911 call over an argument between the two near Arches National Park in Utah.
What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm just crying. We've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
According to the police report, at one point, Petito went to slap her boyfriend. He pushed her away, catching Petito off balance. She then scratched him in the face.
Because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated.
It looked typical of both of them. Whenever they'd fight, they would take a little break and come back and be fine, because that's what you do in a couple.
Cassie says her brother is someone who has always done the right thing.
He's a wonderful uncle. He's always been there when I need him. He's been there every time Gabby's needed him.
But authorities say Brian is now being investigated as a person of interest in Gabby's disappearance.
2 people went on a trip, 1 person returned, and that person that returned isn't providing us any information.
Gabby Petito was last seen August 24th, checking out of a hotel with laundry in Salt Lake City, Utah. Her mother says the next day was the last time she spoke with Gabby, who told her they were in Grand Teton, Wyoming, on their way to Yellowstone. Then on September 1st, laundry returned to their home back in Florida in their van alone. Petito's family attorney recently reading this letter aloud at a press conference, pleading with Laundry's family for answers.
We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located.
Trevor Alt reporting for us. Breaking tonight, New York millionaire and real estate heir Robert Durst has been found guilty of first-degree murder of his friend Susan Berman in her Los Angeles home back in 2000. Prosecutors said Durst was silencing Berman to prevent her from telling police what she knew about the disappearance and suspected killing of his wife in New York in 1982. Durst, who is not in court today, has denied killing his wife and was acquitted of the 2001 murder of a neighbor in Texas. The 78-year-old now faces life in prison and is currently being held in isolation in the LA County Jail Hospital after being exposed to COVID. A Tesla driver is facing charges for allegedly driving under the influence. Her car was reportedly on autopilot. Police followed it at slow speeds and eventually got it to stop when an officer pulled directly in front of it. Authorities say the driver was unconscious when taken into custody. So if you love to work out, chances are you don't spend a lot of time thinking about how you recover, though that process can make you stronger and more resilient. Becky Worley reports.
Wearable devices track exercise, steps, and calories, and they advise the same goals every day. But there's a new type of tracker on the market, touted by professional athletes like Olympic gold medal surfer Carissa Moore and Patrick Mahomes, that sets daily, different activity goals based on recovery after exercise.
The big idea is that you get better performance out of yourself if you know how well you're sleeping, you know, how recovered your body is from a day of hard exertion.
The Whoop Band and the Oura Ring are the biggest players in this space, and they both create daily reports about the length of your sleep and its quality. I contact the companies to send me complimentary products and try them for a few weeks. The first thing I realized, I was majorly overestimating the quantity of sleep I got. I thought I was getting in excess of 8 hours, but in reality, it was more like 7 hours. And then I start to notice another pattern. Wearing the Whoop while on vacation, I go paddleboarding and surfing almost every day. 2 hours on the water is way more than I normally work out, and Whoop says, hold on, you're going way past your limits, which could mean that I'm not recovering. Professional athletes have realized that when you continue to go hard, even though your body hasn't recovered, that's when injury happens.
If you think of fitness as a stool, the legs of your stool are training, nutrition, and recovery. But for a long time, the training and the nutrition were really the ones that got paid the most attention to in the sports world.
He says you have athletes who used to brag about how much weight they lifted, now bragging about how much sleep they get. Like Roger Federer, famously quoted saying that he spends 12 hours a day in bed. But as I test these devices, it's not just my sleep deficit that I start to notice. Makers of the Oura and the Whoop say they track something called heart rate variability.
Your heart needs to be able to change the heart rate, and it has to be able to do it
quickly. So heart rate variability, in fact, is a sign of good heart health.
The most accurate way to measure heart rate variability is an electrocardiogram found in a hospital or doctor's office. And while these fitness trackers are not intended to diagnose illness or replace medical-grade devices, they can give you a sense of changes over time for some of these basic metrics. And on nights when I drink alcohol, the apps say that it impacts sleep quality too. REM sleep and deep sleep both decrease when I have even one drink.
Oh, man.
So while these devices have changed some of my habits, Dr. Bott says all the things I'm now trying to improve are common sense medical advice.
Having that information, might be a bit useful. But for the average person, I think it's one of those things that's kind of fun, neat to have, but not really critical to have.
All right, Becky, thank you. And still to come, how do you clean something that is 4,000 plus years old? We'll let you know. Stay with us.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcast.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline. Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it? Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
How cute. Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 12 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're going to move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
Squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Welcome back, everyone. We are tracking several international headlines at this hour. Tonight, France has recalled its ambassadors to the U.S. and Australia in protest of President Biden's submarine deal with Australia. The move will result in the abandonment of a previous submarine agreement between Australia and France believes this is unacceptable behavior between allies and partners. Their words. A man in just his underwear climbed out onto a narrow ledge on the 4th floor of an apartment in southern Russia to escape a fire. Take a look at these pictures. He was able to hold on by grabbing the window frame. According to local media there, no one was injured and the fire was quickly brought under control. And a Russian crew of 2 cosmonauts and 2 cinema professionals are set to become the first team to shoot a movie in outer space. The Suez launch will blast off early next month. The movie, titled The Challenge, will focus on the story of an ordinary doctor launched on short notice to the International Space Station to save the life of a cosmonaut. Staying overseas and the much-needed preservation work taking place at Stonehenge to protect one of the mysteries of the ancient world. ABC's Maggie Rulli explains.
One of the ancient wonders of the world, Stonehenge, is getting some rare TLC.
Wow, it's quite incredible to see.
Standing in its presence, you can just feel the weight of mystery and myth that still surrounds the Neolithic stone circle. Those imposing rocks towering over England for thousands of years, now complete with scaffolding. The monument undergoing the most significant conservation work in more than 60 years.
Stonehenge, man. It's like, this is the highlight, right? You've made it in conservation, yeah.
James Preston's worked in stone conservation since he was 16.
You know, no one else will work on this in our lifetimes, so we're quite lucky. Yeah, let's go up. We'll go up.
He takes us up to the top of the stones to see this delicate work up close.
But this is so cool. I don't think I ever expected to be this close. You know, being up here, you just see how massive these stones are. And where's the work that you're doing? What are you trying to do?
The intention of this phase of works is just to introduce some lime mortar into the joints where previous works, like from the 50s, have failed or eroded away. Basically, that will protect them.
These impressive rocks remain shrouded in mystery. We have no idea who built it or why. But archaeologists do know that each stone was meticulously planned, and every summer solstice, thousands still come to see the sunrise perfectly through the stone's arches. English Heritage tells us they try to interfere with the structure as little as possible. The last time major work was done was just after World War II. This time around, James and his team have technology on their side, using laser scans to help find any cracks forming along the tops of the stones. Extreme weather, like more frequent torrential rains and heat waves, is threatening to make these cracks even worse.
The ones that are facing the sky and taking the brunt of extreme weather, we're just looking at where there are quite deep geological cracks and fissures, but we're just trying to prevent water sitting and puddling on top of the lintels for any length of time.
Now, it's about protecting these stones for generations to come.
These stones have been around for 4,000 years, and you can't lose them on your watch.
Absolutely not. We're fairly confident they'll last for a few more thousand years, yes.
Maggie Ruley, ABC News, Stonehenge.
Very cool, Maggie. Thank you. Finally tonight, we are a nation divided on so many levels, especially in our politics. But this summer, two members of Congress, one Republican, one Democrat, are setting out to show that civility and bipartisanship are not a lost cause. We hit the road this month, headed to the Minnesota State Fair, where Congressman Dean Phillips and Dusty Johnson, two self-described problem solvers, were testing out some potential solutions for finding common ground. Our Devin Dwyer was there and has the story.
The crowds come for cows and corn.
What do you eat? Eating the corn. Gotta get the corn.
Deep-fried candy bars, legendary butter sculptures, and a side of political straight talk.
We're losing all of our rights. We're losing our choice.
Do trans lives and black lives matter here?
I think they do, more for some people than others.
At the Minnesota State Fair, America's deep political divide in the COVID era is on full display.
Who's on the wheel?
That is Governor Walz.
Well, that's the governor.
That's the governor right there.
We got our own war within our own states here right now going on.
Enter two members of Congress, a Republican and a Democrat, on a mission to find a path toward healing.
I mean, what's a Trump country Republican doing with a Twin Cities Democrat at the State Fair?
Well, I mean, I think, number one, it's more like that than people realize. There are lots of good people in Congress.
South Dakota Republican Dusty Johnson and Minnesota Democrat Dean Phillips have teamed up for a first-of-its-kind political exchange.
My name's Randy.
Hey, Randy. I'm Dusty.
Visiting with voters in each other's home districts in an effort to tone down the rhetoric and find common ground.
But how do you get from civility, and this is great that you guys are showing it here, but how do you get from that to compromise? It seems like a much harder ideal to reach.
You know, you can't work with people you don't trust, and you can't trust people you don't know.
The congressmen say they're ideological opposites, but constructive personal friends.
Have you done other state fairs?
I never have.
Yeah, me either.
No.
It sort of felt like I was cheating.
I know you did.
The two hitting the road to a Twin Cities suburb for a pilot program with conservative and liberal strangers on how to confront our differences.
For people to come together in goodwill and not to start out with, what do you think of Trump?
Dean and Dusty enlisting the help of Bill Doherty, co-founder of the nonpartisan group Braver Angels.
We started this organization 4.5 years ago, and we've done 1,000 conversations. so far.
Doherty is a marriage therapist by trade.
I've been doing marriage therapy for 40 years. I've never seen politics invade the marriage like it has now.
We heard for ourselves how our politics are straining our relationships.
It's tragic for my son, and he doesn't see his cousins now. And, some people that I talk to just wonder, out loud, can it go to civil war if we don't stop this and find a better way?
One of the main reasons I came here is I got married 11 years ago to a man who was right of center. And we almost didn't get married because of our disagreements 11 years ago. After the George Floyd, we came to some blows and discussions about the racial disparities, because I had a whole different perspective and a whole different set of experiences than he did in growing up.
I have a spouse, she's left of center, unlike me, but when we got married 14 years ago, politics was nowhere near the top of the conversation list. And you can't go anywhere today without people looking at you, and before they even know who you are, they want to know, okay, is this person vaccinated? Is this person toting a gun?
For 2 hours, the participants, with the congressman in the mix, sharing personal stories in search of mutual understanding.
I literally had someone tell me that I have to be very careful if I put an American flag on my house, because I happen to live in a blue area, and when I put my American flag out, I look red. And that could be a problem, and that could make our house a target. That's appalling.
And pairing off red and blue to try truly listening to the other. Conversations leading to revelations.
I was able to sit here as a conservative and not think at the end of this thing that you blue people are, you're real people.
We do not have to be two separate teams. We can be one team, and I'm taking hope from here.
We're more alike than we are different, everyone in this room, and that I think was a little bit surprising.
A call to get back to basics.
People have to focus on what they have in common, what they care about together.
We're just trying to find out a way for our country to talk about these wonderful political opinions in a way that is productive rather than destructive. Yeah.
All right.
As two political optimists in Congress try to help lead the way.
I learn from him, he learns from me. And if that can be just a tiny bit of a seed that we metaphorically plant at the State Fair and tonight at our Common Ground tour, that's a darn good beginning. Now we just got to water it.
For ABC News, I'm Devin Dwyer in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Feels like a good start. That's our show for tonight. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Phil Lipoff. Thanks for streaming with us. Have a great weekend.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes.